So are these pictures proof of a second shooter or someone intentionally trying to trick you for views? Let's go. Hey folks, Gary here with Paramount Tactical, and look, ever since July 13th, people have been looking for answers. I know there's lots of different theories out there, a lot of, at the end of the day, people are looking for an explanation of what took place on January 13th. You know, people want to know how the Secret Service could fail as big as they did. And in the midst of all that, there's lots of theories that come about. You know, one of the most popular ones is the second shooter theory. And I'm not here to dismiss the second shooter theory, although I don't believe it. I've kind of outlined why, based on evidence, and I've spent hundreds of hours of looking through evidence, I don't think that there's a second shooter. That being said, I'm open to looking at new evidence, and I'm open to the idea anytime. But, just a couple weeks ago, I started seeing these pictures floating around the internet, and people were sending them to me all the time. Look, Gary, this is proof. There's a second shooter. And what it depicted, as you can see here, it looks like muzzle flash coming from this window on the lower floor of the AGR building. And I'll tell you, even when I saw those pictures, that doesn't look like muzzle flash to me. With that being said, you can clearly see that there's some motion blur in that picture, and depending on the camera, it can distort things. So I was open to even the idea that, hey, maybe this is muzzle flash, but it just looks strange to me because of all the motion blur and what's going on inside the camera. You have rolling shutter, all these things that'll distort an image. And so, I kind of left it at that. There were some other problems that I'm going to show you with the idea of somebody shooting from that bottom floor to begin with. But we're going to jump right into this. I'm going to show you why whoever is pushing these pictures is an absolute fraud. They knowingly and intentionally are capitalizing on people's, well, look, there are people that are captured by this idea of a second shooter, and they are looking for proof of a second shooter. And those are fine, but the fact is that there are people out there that I think are knowingly trying to exploit that for views. Nothing more, nothing less, because, well, let's just get into this and I'll show you what we got going on here, and you can decide whether or not this was intentional deception. All right, so I have Premiere Pro pulled up right here, and this is the DJ Stu video. We can see down here at the bottom, we have our waveforms. These first three waveforms that we see are the first three shots. And you know what, I'm just going to play this from the first shot through the 10th shot. It's about 15.9 seconds. So let's just go ahead and play that real quick. Here's the next 5. There was a suppressed shot. That's shot number 9. All right, so that was shot number 10. So that is all the shots that we are currently aware of. Now let's go back here. If I'm looking for muzzle flashes, I'm gonna look for those during the shot sequence, right? When we hear gunfire. And I didn't even know that those muzzle flashes came from this video. But let's go through this just kind of frame by frame, and let's see if we see any muzzle flashes in these windows. No muzzle flashes. Shooting's over with for the first 3 shots. Now we get to the next 5 shots. Let's start right here. We have a law enforcement officer right there. So let's look to see if we see any muzzle flashes while gunfire is taking place. And we can see where we can actually see some rolling shutter here, where again straight lines look to start looking wobbly. That's normal when the camera's moving and distorting imagery. Okay, that was all 5 shots. I didn't see any muzzle flash in any windows or anything like that. Here is the suppressed shot. Maybe that muzzle flash came from the suppressed shot. Nothing there. All right. And then just to rule out the final suppressed shot, the one that ended up taking out the murderer. Here we are near the other suppressed shot. We are going frame by frame during that sequence. Nothing. Now here's where things get odd. I'm going to play this from this portion down here at the bottom between the 10 seconds between one suppressed shot and the next suppressed shot. There's a 10-second gap there of no shots fired. We see these waveforms down here. And I just want to play those for you so that you can hear them, because they're basically just noise of him rustling around as he's moving with the phone. And we can hear that one more time. Let me boost the audio just a little bit. Don't want to peak it. All right, so we got some wind noise, right? But let's see what we have going on here. As Dave in this video is moving, I was scanning through, I was looking for something else completely, and I came across this. Here's this window right here. We see something in that window. So let's go to frame. And by the way, this is a 24 frame per second video. One frame that we see it in, 2 frames, 3 frames. Oh, that really looks like muzzle flash. It doesn't look like muzzle flash to me, by the way, but especially in daylight, it's not gonna be that bright. That's just not muzzle flash. But here we go. Now it looks like it's coming out of the window. Here we see that. Now it's gone. We still see a little bit there. Up, there it is again. And now it's gone completely. Let's see how many frames that we can see this muzzle flash in. So that is 1 frame, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 17. So that's a little over 2/3 of a second. We got about 17 frames where we see this muzzle flash. And by the way, it's in a spot where there is no gunfire taking place. And for those of you, if you're not familiar with suppressed shots, 2 things. Number 1, even at this distance, even if it was suppressed, even if it was subsonic, we would still hear it. The other thing about suppressed shots is that they don't produce muzzle flash, and definitely not any sort of muzzle flash that you're gonna see in broad daylight with a suppressor and subsonic ammo. That is impossible, doesn't happen, it's not even an option. Now let's take a look at what this actually is. What this actually is a reflection of either the sun or a reflection of the sun off of another surface. That is what this is. And it is on the exterior of the window. Last time I checked, there's no bullets that are just going to pass through a window and not break it or anything else. So whoever did this is an absolute fraud. They know that there was no, or they're ignorant. I'm gonna go with the fraud. That's what I think right now. You know, I think they're trying to capitalize on people that are sort of desperate to find a second shooter. And again, I'm open to the idea that there may be a second shooter, but this ain't it. And stand by, because I'm gonna show you a whole bunch of other reasons why it's all but impossible to shoot Trump from this window. So if we go back to the beginning of this video, we can kind of see why this is almost impossible to shoot from the bottom floor of this window. So number 1, this building, whether you can tell from here or not, is in a depression, right? So it is below grade. We can see that here. I'm gonna show you a couple other facts about that. So it is below grade, and that is a sloping terrain that goes up toward Trump. So we need to understand that. But I want you to look here on the left-hand side, folks. What we have there is a 6-foot fence. The idea of you actually getting a clear shot through that is absolutely ridiculous. And even right here, we can see there are people lined up. There's a lot more people that come a little bit later. This is at 5:02 p.m. So here we are now at 6:10 p.m. And well, I'll let the audio and the video speak for themselves. They're alerted to something going on the building.
If he was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this.
There's cops surrounding this whole entire building right now.
And let's go back just to right here real quick. So here we see all the people that are lined up. They're looking at Trump. You know, he's directly in front of them from that position. These people are looking back, and we see this window. So it's basically the angle from this window to Trump is directly through not only the chain link fence, but it's also through all the people that are up there as well. Now we have all these law enforcement. They're clearly looking at the building. People are looking at the building. If there was a window open, they'd be able to see it.
There's something going on in this building.
So let's push forward. Just moments before the shooting. Here he's got a gun. 3 shots, followed by 5 shots. 1 suppressed shot. Right here is where we see, let's go back. So this is the first frame as he's moving to the tree, we see that. And then as he continues to move forward, 3/4 of a second, we see the same image. It's now gunfire works. It goes away because he loses the angle at which the reflection is taking place. It's basic parallax, right? So I'm just gonna play it from there. You finally hear the final shot. Look, there's people over there, a person over there. As we press forward just a little bit, this is just a few seconds later. People are still there.
Saw a big poop of hair go up in the air.
Oh, I can't believe I got all that on camera, dude. I was in the middle of it.
So here we are just moments after the shooting takes place.
I can't believe
we
I
have
got
this
all that
cop
on
going
camera, dude. I
by.
was in the middle of it.
If this window was broken, this is the window in question. If that window was broken or anything else,
Kill
he would
confirmed,
obviously
he said.
notice it.
He said kill confirmed.
And here we have some plainclothes individuals with guns. I'm assuming they're law enforcement going by and clearing the structure from the exterior, including the windows. They would have seen those windows if they were broken or there's any indication from shots coming from them. This video illustrates really well how that terrain slopes away from the fence, because that 6-foot fence right here is about the same height. It's not the perfect angle to compare exactly, but you can see how close the top of that 6-foot fence is at this location compared to the eave of the roof at that location. So understanding that, what I do know for a fact is that anybody shooting through that window, they would have to shoot possibly through people, definitely through a fence. And with Trump being further away, surrounded by throngs of people, even up on the platform that he was, I can't confirm this, but I don't think there'd be a line of sight from that window to begin with. But regardless, what we do know is that is not muzzle flash. That is a reflection. And whoever put this out, but knowing that they chose that image during a period of time where there is no gunfire taking place, so when I came across that, it was a huge revelation to me. There are people out there intentionally deceiving you, trying to make you believe something and trying to get more clicks, likes, and views. That's what it comes down to. And they're not looking for the truth, they're looking for views. And I don't know what else to say with that. Anyways, I hope you found that helpful. I hope you found that informative. I'm sure there will be some people that still dispute this, but I don't know how you can find evidence that's more conclusive than that. There was no gunfire taking place while these supposed muzzle flashes. That is a reflection and nothing more. There's no way that you can get around that. And the fact that, again, I was blown away when I found that. That's just a whole nother level of willful deception. And honestly, somebody was going to find it out eventually. So I don't even know why they thought they would get away with that. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I hope that was informative. All throughout this is really important. This whole event is really important. It's important that the American people hold the government accountable. I've taken some views just based on analysis and experience that I know some people that are not popular. I got this second shooter thing has turned into a religion where if you say anything against the idea of the possibility of there being a second shooter, you're treated like an apostate, and these people go around and personally attack you. I think it's crazy, it's nuts, it's not helpful, and it doesn't help us get to the truth. And we need to get to the truth, and the government failed. There are a lot of people that should be held accountable. Specifically, we had Cheadle, she quit. But Mayorkas is her boss. He should be held accountable, and ultimately Joe Biden. If this taken place under Trump's watch and he was the president and Joe Biden was on the campaign trail and we had a failure like this, we would hear it nonstop every minute of every second of every day in the news of how Trump is responsible for this and that failure was on him. We have not heard Biden take any political responsibility or any responsibility period for this. It's been nothing but a blame game. And this, regardless if there's 10 shooters, 20 shooters, whatever else, it doesn't change who's responsible and who should be fired. And they need to have consequences so that this doesn't happen again, regardless if it's a conspiracy or not. That's how we prevent this from happening again. That's what it comes down to. Anyways, again, like, subscribe, share this info. Again, join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We got more content coming out. Hit that bell icon so that you know when we release new content. And the other thing I'd like people to know is that while we'd like you to like and subscribe here on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, YouTube is not a friend of the Second Amendment. They're not a friend of the First Amendment. And we need to get more viewers over on Rumble so that Rumble is a more viable and better product ultimately. Right now, they respect the First Amendment, they respect the Second Amendment. There's just not as many people over there, and it's not as user-friendly as it should be. In my opinion, YouTube is anti-American. And while getting to the truth and holding government accountable is great, what we're really about is training, so make sure you go to ParamountTactical.com. Go check out our upcoming training schedule. We'd love to have you out. We'd love to meet you in person. Tactical carbine, handgun, long range is kind of what we specialize in, medical courses, high performance driving courses, you name it, we do it. We have the instructors with the background and experience to provide high level training in all those areas. So definitely come join us. For all your gear, if you want to support us, go to ParamountTactical.com. We have a Patreon account. Go check out our free newsletter down below. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.